Hello guys, welcome to the kind of delayed Pioneer Master Brawl Commander review. I guess it can't be a preview if the set already came out, but this week has been, let's say the world is just kicking me around. But anyways, we're gonna do two parts. Since this set won't have like the alchemy version, so we usually do like the main set and the alchemy version. There's no need for that this one. I'm gonna rather divide into Planeswalkers and the creature ones, because otherwise it would be, I want to say, about 40 commanders to review in a single video, and I'm not too keen on that. So yeah, Pioneer Master, for you guys that don't know, Pioneer is a format that's not currently on Arena. They have Explorer, and basically they want to bring Pioneer to Arena, so they reprinted a bunch of cards that are not on Arena, so we can finally have Pioneer. I don't really play that format, so I don't care. So we're gonna be looking only at the legendary creatures and planeswalkers for Brawl, and yeah, so let's get started. So as always, the unplayable and interesting command as we go through. One thing I need to say, all of these guys, they were designed without commander in mind, as in like nowadays legendary creatures in all the sets are made with commander in mind. They might have some abilities here, work better in multiplayer or just very, very powerful. Back then they were just, normal creatures, normal planeswalkers, so these are not like game breaking kind of stuff. They do kind of linear stuff. They don't do everything like cards do nowadays, so there's that difference there. That being said, so these five guys, I don't personally think they're good enough, or they don't do enough to be your commander. I think they're fine part of 99. Domri is going to be in so many red-green decks of mine. I love creature-based decks. But yeah, Chandra is just like, there's no ultimate, it's just a board wipe. Yeah, you can play it in your mono red big deck, like your big red deck. Just play it in 99, you're gonna have better commanders. Omnixless, +1 draws a card, minus kills something, -8 is a emblem that kind of wins the game eventually. It's kind of like boring. Good in your mono black deck, doesn't need to be a commander. Same goes to Jace. Domri is a really good card. I just think it works better in the 99 of commanders such as the other Domri, the one that makes your creature spells uncounterable and adds mana. This one, the -2 is a fight, the +1 will find you something, but just not enough. I think they're just more powerful cards that were designed to be commanders, so they're more powerful. And same with Vajani, just again doesn't do enough to be a commander. Power in the 99, gladly. So yeah, let's get started. The order is color, and I want to say CMC based, mana value based. I could be mistaken. No, it's not mana value based. Anyways, colors. We're going first. Gideon, Lie of Zendikar, 4 mana walker with 4 loyalty. It has a 0 that makes a token. The +1 makes Gideon a 5/5 until end of turn, and the emblem, which you can get it the turn you play Gideon. You can play it, emblem it. Makes all your creatures. It gives an anthem effect. So we're gonna play kind of this white Winnie deck. We want tokens, obviously we want a lot of tokens, because, well, if we can play Gideon on 4 emblem, it dies, play Gideon on 6 emblem, it dies, play Gideon for 8 mana emblem, so on and so forth. I think you understand where I'm going here. Just keep embleming Gideon so your creatures are like permanently bigger, since they can't interact with these emblems, they can't interact with these anthems. So yeah, so Brimas attacks makes tokens, Adeline attacks makes tokens. I was very disappointed to find we do not have that many Gideons on Arena. I believe if you count Kithion, which flips into a Gideon, you have 6 Gideons, and one is like a duo deck or planeswalker deck Gideon, which is terrible. So we don't have like the original Zendikar Gideon. I think there's 1 or 2 Gideons missing, so yeah, it's a bit disappointing. I would want to run more Gideons, but we have it like the Black Blade and the one of the Trials. Those are pretty good. Round off the deck with more Anthem effects, so not only you have this, because you're not going to be casting the Gideon 3, 4, 5 times. You're probably going to cast it, emblem it twice, maybe 3 times, so it's good to have some other Anthem effects, and then just run off the deck on top of the tokens. Just some good Winnie creatures, as per no Garden of Souls. I'm trying to think. Thalia, you can have some kind of like Death and Taxes kind of cards with both the 2 mana and the 3 mana Thalia. Even Mind Sense, the Paulo Vitor Dom de Rose World Champion card as well, the 3/1 flyer. So yeah, just run off your deck. It's a white mini deck with your commander, making dudes, hitting for a lot, and making emblems. So yeah, pretty decent. The other white one, also a Gideon. It's actually Kithion, but it flips into a Gideon. works similarly the same way. I would want to go this one 100% into a Death and Taxes, not like a Death and Taxes sub theme, but a Death and Taxes theme. So, like I mentioned, the Palo Vito Dama de Rosa World Champion card, Thalia's also good. Since you're gonna play a bunch of Winnie cards, creatures rather, other Winnie creatures that draw you cards. We can have a lot of graveyard hate, deck searching hate, and especially land hate. Especially if you're on the play, you can really punish your opponent. You have like even Mind Sense, White Orchid Phantom, blink the White Orchid Phantom with an Ephemerate. They have to search for land in the top 4 cards. They don't find it, you're just strip mining your opponent. Same with the Dust Bowl, just straight up kill things. Run off the deck with a bit of Recursion, Raise the Past, the Reclamation card, and the White Unearth, which is helping hand. There's a couple of those now. And some swords, you know, you can never go wrong with some good equipment. So yeah, just a white, mono white Death and Taxes deck. Pretty clean living. Run a few powerful 1-drops so you can probably flip the Kithion by turn 3. If you run like Esper Sentinel and Guide of Souls, you can flip the Kithion turn 3. But it's okay if you don't flip it, it's like still a Savannah Lion. That's gonna do a lot of damage if not dealt with. Up next, already into blue, Jace Memory Adept. This one, I don't think there's any secret. It's a mill commander. It's a 5-mana walker, +1 draw card, target player mills a card, 0, target player mills 10 cards, -7, any number of target player each draw 20 cards. If you have a plussing and you get to the ultimate, you probably will kill them, or you can just draw 20 cards yourself as well. But probably you're just gonna play this on 5, 0 it, they don't kill it, 0 it again, and then eventually just die, they run out of cards. Brewvac for Insanity cards that double the milling. With Jace it's just really disgusting because you're gonna be milling 20 cards a turn. We have other ways of continuous milling the other Jace. It's gonna happen a lot, you're gonna notice on this video, on these Planeswalkers. You're just gonna want to run the other version of the Planeswalker in this Planeswalker deck. I try my best not to do that, but like they just, who would have thought this? The two guys with the same name work really well together. Not me, generally not me. Drowned Secret is a very, very powerful card. We have a few tutelages now. Sphinx tutelage finally on Arena. I used to love this card in Standard, so I'm excited to have it here now. Just, you know, draw a card, mill your opponent, works off the plus if you ever choose to plus instead of minus. And as always, you're playing mono blue, run off your deck with some bounce, Cyclonic Rift, River's Rebuke, Flood of Tears. We also even have the Crush of Tentacles now, recently added to Arena, and then Counterspell, Mana Drain, Remand, what else is there? What is Memory Lapse? You know, just the usual counterbounce. You also have the cheap removal of like Unable to Scream, Witness Protection, those kind of stuff. You know, this is a mono blue deck. The theme is mill. There's no hiding. It's a very straightforward. You're gonna notice a lot of these decks are very straightforward. Jace is not as straightforward. I think this is gonna end up being just like a kind of like the Brawl deck. I put Brawl as an example of a card you should be running in this deck, but it's just a mono blue. It's just a good mono blue deck. That's a competitive, not aggressive, but it's just a competitive, control minded mono blue deck. Jace flipping the, if you guys don't know, the +1. You give -2/-0 to a creature until your next turn. The -3 lets you cast something from your graveyard, 1/1 instant or sorcery. So we obviously have the likes of like Time Warp, River's Rebuke, which obviously are cards you just want to have in the deck, but the option of flashing it back with Jace is very powerful. We want some mana reduction, we want counter spells. I put these two as an example of like just run powerful cards. Don't beat around the bush. There's no gimmick about Jace. You don't need to self-mill. Jace feeds itself, fetch lands, countering opponent stuff. You're eventually going to have 5 cards in your graveyard. Search for a Scanter as well also helps. Like, you don't need to run like a Tom Scour and mill yourself for 5. There's no need. Just play the Jace, loot 2-3 times, counter a couple spells, and you already flip the Jace. Like, don't go above and beyond to flip it. It will happen naturally. Just run a good mono blue deck. All the good cards. Don't beat around the bush. Just play all the good cards. But search for alchemy cards, blue, and then put all the good ones. Agent Referee and Oracle of the Alpha, 2 examples, but there's plenty more. Next we have Liliana, Heretical Healer. 3 mana 2/3 with lifelink. Whenever another non-token creature control dies, you flip her and you get a 2/2 zombie. We want ways to flip Liliana at command. We don't want to be forced to attack and then flip, because there's obviously the chance that well, things go awry, right? So we have the likes of like Warren Soul Trader, which just having Liliana in play, you can sack another creature of yours that you out to have maybe a 1 or 2 drop from before, flips Liliana instant speed, and you flip on the opponent's turn, worth noting. Marauder, we have, what is it called? Oh, there's a bunch of the 3 mana ones that come into play and make both players sacrifice a creature, can sack itself. That also flips Liliana. Combat, I mean, if push comes to shove, right? Just attack with a creature, they're forced to block, or they either trade and you flip Liliana, or they don't trade and you push in damage. Can't go wrong with that. Rest of the deck, we have Waste Not, because the backside of Liliana, the +1, makes opponents discard cards. Since we're going to be sacking creatures, trading creatures, because we want Liliana to trade. Dictator of Erebos, new card. New to Arena card, worth noting. All the cards in Pioneer are reprints. Most of them new to Arena, not all. Midnight Reaper, since we're sacking stuff, all the cards that they get a trigger from creatures dying. Blood Artist, Teleport Cutthroat, Midnight Reaper, Grim Harrowspecs, anything like that does work. Reanimate, we can revive stuff. Grey Merchant, Mono Black, good stuff that can't go wrong. And then, you know, I think it was just made sense to put Rise of the Dark Realms in the Liliana deck. You're going to be filling your graveyard, you're going to be making your opponent have a bunch of creatures in their graveyard, so, you know, worth noting, worth having. Straightforward. Up next, Liliana Vess. Oh wow, another Liliana. This one I almost considered to put it in unplayable or uninteresting, but having a Vampiric Tutor as your -2 gives you a lot of toolboxy, so you can run like very specific cards. You could run Crypt Incursion if you're playing as a graveyard deck, Leyline of the Void, and search for it. You can run like specific color hate if you hate playing as Mono Blue, you can search for Cavern of Souls if you have in your deck, or any what is it, what is the one from Ixalan that makes your spells uncounterable? It's a 6 mana artifact, I can't remember. The one that explores, for example. You can search for specific hate, so that gives a bit of an interesting edge. And then the -8 as well. It's a Rise of the Dark Realms on your Planeswalker. I'll put both since we're going in that direction. Rest of the deck, Lilianas, you're probably gonna run most of them. Liliana Veil, so work with the discarding, keep opponent's hand empty, get a lot of value from having opponent discard cards. Other than that, just a control, mono black control, just mono black cruel control, I guess. Just a bunch of removal, a bunch of enchantment cards staying to play that just generate a lot of value. Black Market's gonna add you mana. Arena is gonna draw you cards. Black Market Connections. You could have those more recent ones, Painful Quandary, I think it's called. If opponent casts a card, they have to discard or lose 5 life, things like that. Those are very powerful. Run Rafts, run removal, run a bit of mana, and you got yourself a mono black cruel control deck. Easy enough. Next, Nissa Vastwood Seer. Mono green wants to have lands in play kind of deck. Nothing too crazy here. When you reach your 7th land in play, the Nissa flips. What are we gonna do to have reach 7 lands in play faster? Well, we're gonna want to play extra lands during our turn, so Loot, Azusa, that worked really well. We want to be playing lands from the top of our deck, because we might run out of lands in our hand. We're already running a higher land count in this deck. You're probably running 40, 43, 44, 45 lands, depends on how big you want to go. I'll probably run like 40 normal lands and a few spell lands, MDFCs, so probably round off at 45 lands, 46 depending. We want to search for lands, we want to play extra lands, we want to be able to play lands from top of our deck, so we're getting this Nissa flipped as early as possible. Since we're doing a bunch of landfall stuff, Tireless Reckless, Spring Hardener, Tireless Provisioner, all those usual suspects. You can run Lumra as well. If you run Scape Shift, you can run the POC guy, the Alchemy card. There's just a bunch of Alchemy good cards you can just end up running. Run off the deck with your usual Bird Paradise, Llanowar Elves, Delighted Halfling, so you can Ramp as well, although I would lean towards more search for land ramp as opposed to creature mana ramp, just so we can make sure this Nissa flips as soon as possible, because we don't want to just, okay, we play turn 2 Nissa, but we played it with only 2 lands in play, so we're still 5 lands away. The next turn we play Fanatic of Ronas. Sure, we have a lot of mana, but we're still very far from flipping this Nissa, so we lean towards more searching for lands ramp. Round off the deck with some big stuff. There's so many Eldrazi on Arena now. There's so many Colossuses, Titans, whatever else you want. Mono green, go big, go lands. Straightforward. Up next, hey, look, it's Nissa again. This one is a bit more interesting. 3 mana Walker, it's always very interesting. +1 makes token, -2 put counters on each creature, and then a -7 you gain a bunch of life and draw a bunch of cards. You go to the number of lands you control. We're focusing on the +1 and -2. Whenever you build a Planeswalker commander, you should never focus on the ultimate, because you're barely ever, unless like, yeah, you run a bunch of doubling season effects, then sure, your plan is to play it and already ultimate. I guess we can talk about Tameo, the banned one, the 4-mana Tameo, which is the goal to just play it and ultimate it, but that's a corner case scenario. Obviously we have doubling season here, but why we have doubling season? Well, we have a Planeswalker commander, so that obviously already works with Nissa coming into play with 6 counters. It makes double the tokens and it doubles the counter, so it works with being a Planeswalker, the +1 and the -2. Same with Primal Vigor. Obviously the counters work. It doesn't put extra, doesn't work with the loyalty. The only issue Primal Vigor, as you should know, is a board wide effect, also works for your opponents, so be careful in that regard. I put Whisperwood here because we're making tokens. Let's get some value out of that. Also, it's a new card for Arena. I used to love discarding Standard. Never had the money to buy it. I was a teenager when this guy came out. I was way too poor to buy it, but I love seeing being played by professionals. So yeah, we're running a bunch of tokens so we can put extra counters on them. We don't want to just like be putting the counter on 2 creatures, Nantuko helps, Elemental helps, anything that creates tokens. Run off the deck with value out of cards having cards having counters. So Agatha, you can make creatures have activated abilities, otherwise they wouldn't have. Rishka makes all your creature add mana. You're going wide, you're going big, overrun it up, call it a day. No secret there. Up next, we are in the multicolor. We have Narset Transcendent. Just Narset Transcendent. There's no comma after her name. 4-mana Walker with 6 freaking loyalty. That's super high, very hard skill. +1, look at the top card of your library. If it's a non-creature, non-land, you can put it in your hand. And if it happens to be a creature or a land, it just stays on top of your deck, which is a bit sucks. Whenever you cast your next instant sorcery, gains Rebound. For you guys don't know, Rebound, you exile the card as resolved, and you get to cast it again during your upkeep. And then the -9, your opponent can cast non-creature spells that can be lethal against a decent amount of decks. I mean, there's going to be a few creature-based decks, but yeah, that one is very powerful. And note that your opponents can't cast. It's not like whenever your opponent casts a non-creature spell, counter it. It just can't cast. End of the story. Time Warp and Treasure Cruise are 2 cards that I would love to duplicate with Narset. Treasure Cruise you should be playing 1, 2, 3 mana at most, and then you get to draw 6 cards. Time Warp, you take 2 extra turns. I put these 2 examples as I think we should be running a lot of MDFC since the +1s. We kind of might want to be finding lands. This way, like a blue-white control deck, we want to make sure we're hitting all land drops. The +1 of Narset doesn't help find lands, but if they are MDFCs, they do work. So we will want to run quite a few of those as well, more than the usual amount. Not only the super good ones, you might run ones that are like kind of like normally I wouldn't, but let's make an exception here. No secret for the rest of the deck. Wraths, targeted removal, counter spells, bounce spells, draw spells, and then for win cons, not only is the -9, I mean your opponent probably going to concede just from being locked out of the game, everything getting countered, everything getting killed, but you have some other Planeswalkers to win the game. I think you don't want to run any creature, to which point you can run Kahira as your companion as well, but just don't run any creature. Fairy, Elspeth, I'm lying, you cannot run Kahira because it's green-white, but yeah, just other Planeswalkers win the game. You don't need creatures in this deck. Up next, Ashiok Nightmare Weaver. I'm kind of sick, guys. Please be understandable. Please like this video. I'm low-key dying. I have class in like 40 minutes and I don't want to go because I'm dying, but I gotta go. Anyways, exile the top 3 cards of the target opponent's library with a +2. With -X, if you exile any creature with it, you can bring it back by paying X equals to the creature's mana value, and then -10 exile cards from opponent's hands and graveyard. This is a it's a blue-black mill deck. This just you can try to do gimmicky stuff, but I think it's just a blue-black mill deck. Ashiok doesn't necessarily work with other mill cards since he only cares about cards it milled/exiled. So we're just using it as an exile, as a mill engine. Other blue-black mill cards have Ashiok again, Glimpse, the Unthinkable also works. So like I could highlight all the blue mill cards, but we already did during the Jace. So like all these guys you're seeing here, you're gonna run it. So now I'm gonna highlight the blue-black ones because you know you don't get to see it usually. Thief of Sanity is an interesting way to mill because it not only steals cards but also mills your opponent for 3. Ashiok is getting value from cards being put into exile. If you look at the -2, beginning of your combat on your turn, if a card was put into exile this turn, put a +1/+1 counter on this creature. So Ashiok is feeding Ashiok. Both Ashioks is feeding Ashiok. Anyways, run off the deck with counter spells, Wraths, removal, and you get to run again. Just good alchemy cards. Roscoe, super dumb and powerful, just comes into play and creates a freaking, what is it called, a midnight clock. It's crazy. Tasha also is a really good card that I don't see people playing enough. I don't know if people don't know she's a card, but she's really good. She's really good. Just makes all winnie decks, all aggressive decks just kind of fault and die. So yeah, blue-black mill deck. Again, most of these guys are very straightforward. Up next, Xenagos the Reveler. 4 mana walk or 3 loyalty, which you can 0 to make a 2/2 haste creature every turn, or you can +1 to add X mana, where X is the number of creatures you control, and finally -6 exile top 7 cards of library. You can put any number of creatures and or lands from among them onto the battlefield. I could just say run this as a red-green aggro deck. 0 Xenagos every turn and just sit for a bunch. Fair enough. I think this is going to be more interesting in a go wide deck. A bit of like a ETB, I guess, creatures coming into play. As you see, like I highlight the Perforos and Outpost Sieges on Arena. Finally, I freaking love Outpost Siege, and I'll put this card in every red deck. I hope you guys know that. If you see me posting a red deck video, just know Outpost Siege is going to be in that deck, and if it's not, just know it hurt me a lot to cut it. Anyways, going back to Xenagos. So yeah, we're going wide with tokens, and then we're also trying to get value out of the +1. We're going to have some big stuff, not only because we want to get value of the +1, but also if we ever get to out, we want to have big stuff, but we also want that big stuff to be castable, because like we're not going to be +1ing often. So we are unlikely to reach the ultimate. So we want to have like big stuff be like 6, maybe 7, maybe X cost creatures. We don't want to play like a 10 mana Ulamog. Obviously I would love to -6 and put a 10 mana Ulamog into play, but most times I'm not going to -6 and I don't want to have a 10 mana card in my hand. So yeah, we run tokens to go wide. We're also going to use the +1 to kind of feed into activated abilities. So we can use Perforos, we can use Tyvar. There's definitely more that is not coming to mind. Disconnected from its base. I hope that wasn't deafening. I'm going to be holding the microphone like this is just like I'm Elvis Presley. Is this still recording? It is. I am so sorry about that. My microphone just fell off its base. I'm going to get that fixed in a moment. This is awkward. You guys are seeing behind the scenes. Oh my god. Anyways, should I edit that out? Probably. I don't have time though. So low budget videos. Anyways, yeah, go wide, make a bunch of tokens, use the +1 to either feed into creatures' activated abilities or play big creatures. I'm doing quotation marks with my hand. You can't see it, obviously. I don't do face cam. Big creatures that you should be able to cast even if you don't +1 the Xenagos. It's a cool deck. I like Xenagos. Can't go wrong. Up next, a Journey Mentor of Heroes. 5 mana walker, +1, put 3 +1/+1 counter among 1, 2, or 3 creatures you control. I don't know what happened to my microphone. I'm a bit upset. I hope I can fix it. Anyways, look at the 4 cards of your library. You may review an aura, creature, Planeswalker card from among them, and put into the battlefield. Put into your hand, and then the -8, you just gain 100 life. So what are we doing here? Well, we are working on the counters idea. We are working on the aura, because we also like we can find creatures or planeswalkers or auras. So let's add some auras, you know, just in case. We can make our removal be aura based, so we're more likely to hit it. For example, I put Bury in the Garden, but you can have like any pacifism effect, just so our commander can not only find creatures but can also find removal. I think will be important. Doubling season, because it works really well with the +1. It works really well with a Johnny being a planeswalker, and then you get to -100, -8 and gain 100 life, which isn't GG, but probably buys you 15 freaking turns and enough time to get back in the game. So, you know, can't go wrong with that. And if you -8 twice, okay, opponent is just leaving. He's not dealing with you. They're not dealing with you, rather. Rest of the deck, we're having creatures getting value from having +1/+1 counters. Other ways to double counters on creatures. Value from having your creatures be bigger than they usually are, or from counters being put on them, being it draw cards or find lands or whatever it is. Like I mentioned, auras in terms of removal. You can also run some auras in terms of making your creatures more powerful. Run off the deck with Planeswalkers also finds them, because Ajani happens to be really good in the Ajani deck. This one also puts counters, gives your creatures vigilance. Nice. Game life doesn't really matter. This one is just a good card. Just run good cards in your deck. It usually works really well to run good cards in your deck. You'll be very surprised. I usually during testing I figured out that I should stop running bad cards. It should instead just put good cards. Happens more often than you think. Up next we have Garruk, Apex Predator, green-black control. Green-black control. I'm not gonna beat around the bush. There's what else are you doing? Green-black rock. Yeah, green-black rock. Yeah, green-black rock is green-black control. Like let's not lie to ourselves. +1 destroys another type of planeswalker. If opponent's running a planeswalker as their commander, that's super powerful. The other +1 makes a token of Death Touch, super powerful. The -3 destroys creatures and gains you life. They're gonna buy you a lot of time. And the -8, if you ever get there, is just yeah, makes all your creatures very hard to block, extremely hard to block. What are you running in your deck? Well, you're running other planeswalkers. Garruk in the Garruk deck again. Vraska, you see I only highlighted the multicolor cards, but the choices, you're just running all the normal black removal, green ramp, any creature that has ETB effect. So you're kind of like, you don't want to ever get 2-for-1. You kind of want, or even 1-for-1. You want everything you play is getting you something more. Everything is a 2-for-1, and if everything is a bit of value. They have to kill a creature, yeah, but this creature already drew me a card, or this creature already found me a land, or this creature made another creature, so you killed half of my creature. That kind of stuff. Catch the War, kill multiple things. Calling Ritual, since you're going bigger, that should be fine. Infinity, also like Season of the Past, or Seasons Past, I think it's called. Don't remember one or the other. Just redrawing cards. And then to round off, you know, you're doing the -8, run all those creatures that make extra tokens, like Zoni. You have Ishkana as well. Glissa works really well because it's just a powerful card, but if you ever have the ultimate, you'll be very surprised how good Death Touch, First Strike, and Trample are. Those are very good combination of keywords. But yeah, green-black control rock deck, no secret. Next, is this the last one? Nope, I lied. Kiora the Crashing Wave, 4-mana walker with only 2 loyalty. This would be unheard of nowadays. You'll probably come in with like 4 loyalty, even though your ultimate's at 5. +1 makes your opponent's creature, or permanent rather, unable to do any damage or be dealt damage. So it kind of just, you know, fogs a thing. -1 is the Growth Spiral, but it puts you at 1 loyalty, so it's kind of scary. And then the -5 is kind of, you know, GG. You're just making a 9/9 every turn. If you ever get 2 of those, is GG. A bit annoying that even with doubling season, you cannot ultimate as it comes into play, but I don't know, c'est la vie. I'll run this as a blue-green, you know, kind of control deck. Just no normal win cons, just go through your deck again. Midnight Clock. No, it's not Mind Desire. What's the one that reshuffles your graveyard into your deck? Those kind of cards, you know, just fog your opponent, bounce the stuff, take extra turns, counter the stuff, rinse and repeat. You don't have any win cons, you just want your opponent to leave. Well, I kind of want to build this deck now. I want to build this deck. I was going to say after this video, but I have to go to class, so I'll build this deck later tonight, and hopefully I can record it this week. But yeah, just mono green-blue control deck with no actual win cons in the deck. Like, no usual normal like in your face win cons. You kind of have to, oh, I have to think a little, oh, I'm just going through my deck again until my opponent is kind of upset with me and leaves. So yeah, that's what I would do here. I know what happened to my microphone. The freaking nail just unscrewed itself. Hope it's not broken. Lastly, we have another Teamer Dragons commander. We already have the one, I want to say it's Mirim. Is it actually Mirim? Don't know, but I'm calling it Mirim. So yeah, +1, draw card and add 1 mana, which, you know, it's nice. Can't go wrong with that. -4 makes a dragon, and a -8 you can search for as many dragons as you want. I didn't put doubling season here, but you know, assume you can play doubling season in your deck if you want. The -2 makes tokens. The -8 you can play it in ultimate and just put 1,000,001 dragons. Also, you're not running 1,000,001 dragons. That's called a hyperbole. Hyperbole. Anyways, you're running Sarkans in the Sarkhan deck as always. Split the Fame. There's a lot of like, if you just go on Scryfall, you put creature type, not dragon, and you search for like the oracle text, just have the word dragon. You're gonna find quite a few cards. You're not gonna run all of them, but all the ones that like give you mana discount, the ones that get value from dragons come into play, or let you search for dragons, things like that. You're gonna run Sarkhan the Masterless. Incredibly powerful because it just makes you, again, aggressive decks just can't attack you. We have a few dragons that get value from other dragons, so Miram, it's gonna make tokens, Thunder Breaks, and deal a lot of damage to the opponent. And then you just have some dragons there, you know, just good. Glorybringer, Dragonhawk, Stormbreath. My brain is failing me, but there's a bunch of dragons. There's so many dragons. It's gonna be mostly red dragons, but yeah, you run like red dragons, you run green for ramp, and you run blue for a bit of like counter magic or bounce or whatever the hell you want to do. Straightforward blue-green Teamer dragon deck. You can switch around between Miram and Sarkhan. They are kind of, you know, interchangeable for the most part. If you end up playing this deck and you really like the deck but you don't like Sarkhan as a commander, put Miram as your commander and put Sarkhan at 99. Can't go wrong. But that's it for the Planeswalkers. Hopefully tomorrow, the day after, I'll bring the creature decks, and then on the weekend, Sunday probably, I will bring the first video of Pioneer Masters. Brawl, as always, I love Brawl. I'm trying to play other formats. I just really enjoy Brawl. I enjoy the deck building, enjoy the gameplay. So yeah, if you enjoyed the video, do leave a like, to subscribe. Just you know, remember I'm sick, and be kind to me, please. Thank you. Let me know which one of these ones you're excited to see and which ones you'd like to see me record. I'm gonna definitely do the Kiora one, probably the Jace one as well. But if there's any specific one you really like to see my take on it, which is obviously not written in stone, but it's how I would build the deck, let me know. And I'll see you guys when I see you. Adios.